February 25th, 25. Regular Planning Commission meeting is called to order. The time is 6:01 p.m. Before we begin, commissioners, please put away cell phones. If you have personal business during the meeting, please move for a recess. If you are participating telephonically, please mute your phone unless you are speaking. Also, when speaking, please state your name for those streaming the meeting. As a reminder to attendees, this meeting is being streamed live. The camera is located in the back of the council chambers above the clock. Will the city planner please call the roll?
Thank you, Commissioner Seals. Commissioner Brown?
Here.
Commissioner Seals?
Here.
Commissioner Langell?
Here.
Commissioner DeYoung, are you online? And Commissioner DeYoung, I don't have in the chambers as well. I don't have that absence excused yet, but we can address that later. And then Commissioner Stafford.
Here.
And Commissioner Seals, you do have a quorum with Commissioners Brown, Seals, Langell, and Stafford present in the chambers.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Stafford, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Certainly. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item of business is the approval of the agenda. Before changes are discussed, are there conflicts of interest to declare? If the commission would like to discuss anything under the consent agenda, such as the minutes, they need to be removed from the consent agenda and placed under new business at this time. Are there?
Sorry, Chair, I forgot. My mind was somewhere else. But I just wanted to declare that another organization I am a member of does business with the Health Foundation. There's no financial benefit to me with that committee, but we do business with the foundation. I want to declare that.
Thank you. If the commission, are there any changes to the agenda?
Commissioner Seals, I'd like to make a change to the agenda. On the consent agenda this evening, we had listed for the meeting minutes from January 28th and 29th. I'd like to strike those. Those have already been approved at a previous meeting.
Need a vote on that. Do I have a motion?
Commissioner Brown, so moved to strike the 7-1.
Commissioner Stafford, second.
Call a roll on that.
And we'll just, so let's vote on the removal of that. It was moved by Commissioner Brown and seconded by Commissioner Stafford. Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner Seals?
Yes.
Commissioner Langell?
Yes.
And Commissioner Stafford?
Yes.
I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended. It has been moved by Commissioner Brown and seconded by Commissioner Stafford to approve the agenda. Okay. Sorry, I got lost. Next on the agenda are reports. Do we have a report from our city deputy administrator tonight?
Thank you, Chair. I asked the planner if I could come once a month and just kind of update you on economic stuff. Hopefully you find it valuable. As of today, there's 2,853 licensed businesses in the city, and that is 420 new business licenses since 2022. So we are growing good, and there's an additional 3,100 online. So that's about 6,000 businesses that are transacting in the city. I just got back from one of our infrastructure tours. We took some individuals over to the Menard Center and the library, and we're going to continue to do those infrastructure tours twice a month. So if you're interested, please contact the planning department. They're from 3 to 5 on Tuesdays. We just got back from Juneau, where we went to the Alaska Municipal League Conference, met with a lot of cities, our legislators, a lot of the commissioners for the different agencies. Talked to a lot of cities that are in the same place we are, where they're updating their comp plan, they're updating their code for development. So we are right in the mix of a lot of cities across the state. We've got, as you probably have noticed, there is some flooding and some drainage issues that are going on because of the weather. And so our public works has had to do a little shifting of their equipment to keep things draining, and then they freeze and then they drain, and it's just Mother Nature at her finest. We had an airport open house February 12th at the Menard Center. It was very well attended, about 100 people there. We didn't get any pushback or really engaged crowd, so we were really, really happy about that. We are having our Spring Mat-Su Economic Summit. That's going to be on the 23rd and 24th of April. And that's where we bring people in from around the state to show off all of the great things that are happening in the area. This will be one day of a conference and then one day of touring the MatCom Dispatch Center, the sewer treatment plant, the interconnect where we're going to connect our two systems with our system with Palmer, and then we'll go up to Hatcher Pass and have lunch. So if you are interested in getting more information about that, we'll have it on our webpage. And other than that, I know it sounds far away, but we will have a booth at the Mat-Su Home Builders Show again this year, the 26th and 27th in April. We'll have some good swag to give out, so you don't want to miss that. Just FYI, we are, Valdez and Wasilla are the only two cities that actually have these restaurant eating, beer and wine license. We have 20 of them. So when they go to apply for a license at AMCO and they're in Wasilla, they can they're eligible for one of those 20. We are still looking for $3 million from the federal government, and that's for the runway expansion and 1.9 for our water expansion. So things are still looking good for the city.
Thank you very much. I've seen him. Chair, I call for an at ease.
Didn't see them before?
He's been here, I think, in the past.
Is he one of your problems children, Cindy?
I've seen potentially, but I didn't catch.
Do you know who he is?
I don't know, there's just cameras outside.
What's a concern? Safety.
So we're going to move on to persons to be heard. We are now at persons to be heard, a time for members of the public to share their views with the Planning Commission. This is not a question and answer period or a time for dialogue. Speakers may be referred to administration, or issues raised may be taken under advisement by the commission or administration. Anyone wishing to step forward may do so at this time. Welcome. Please write your name and contact information on the sign-up sheet. When you have finished, state your name for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak.
Thank you, Commissioner, and planning members and members of the staff. My name is Stu Graham. I'm a Wasilla City Council member, not speaking on behalf of the City Council tonight, but speaking as a resident of Wasilla. And I just wanted to comment that you guys have been doing an awful lot of work lately on Title 16. I can assure you that the public is taking notice. And they are impressed with what is happening and impressed with the fact that we are trying to make it easier and a little more logical to be able to do business, to be able to build buildings, to be able to bring businesses here to Wasilla. So I just wanted to thank you on behalf of myself and my neighbors. And I'm sure when we have a joint meeting to talk about Title 16 between the Planning Commission and the City Council, you'll hear those things as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, would the city planner please read the items for approval under the consent agenda into the record? Is there anyone else wishing to speak? I didn't think so. So since we can skip this because we scratched it. Next on the agenda is new business. Will the city planner please read the agenda item under new business, please? Yeah.
I'm wearing a couple hats tonight. Big hats. So I'll go ahead and just read the next item so we have the public hearing, which is item conditional use permit number 25-01, resolution serial number 25-01. The applicant is Tamas, Deak, KPB Architects. The owner is South Central Foundation, Phase 2 development of existing Benteh, Nuutah Valley Native Primary Care Center facility that includes an approximately 128,000 square foot 2-story building addition and supporting site improvements. Kind of jumped into the request there. And the lot area is 17.15 acres, plus or minus. Location 1001 South Kinnick Goose Bay Road, Chugach North, Track 2, Chugach North subdivision. Zoning is commercial. So,
Thank you. Would you like to provide us a report for this?
thank you, Commissioner Seals. So I just wanted to quickly make a quick introduction here. We have Elise Blocker, who will be joining me this evening. Elise is with Respect, and Elise has provided planning support as I've been getting the role of city planner under my feet. And I just wanted to thank Elise, but I'll kind of turn it over to her just for like a quick introduction.
Yes, thank you. My name is Elise Blocker. I've been with Respect as a planner for the last 4 years, and I'm very happy to be here and assist Cindy with any planning needs that she has. Thank you.
And then also joining us remotely tonight, we have Tamas Deak, and we just want to thank you for being the very first participant to, at least during my tenure, to participate remotely. So thank you for that.
Appreciate it.
And we'll be right back with you. So this is the staff report tonight, and I know I just want to tell you thank you for the first time that I did this, in which I gave you a complete monologue, and we'll go a little quicker this time. It will not be the 30-minute version. We'll go real fast here. Tonight on the summary facts, as mentioned, Tamas Deak is the applicant with KPB Architects. The owner is South Central Foundation. Proposal is conditional use permit for commercial use. The request, conditional use approval for 128,000 square foot two-story building addition and supporting site improvements. The location, 1001 Knik Goose Bay Road, Wasilla, Alaska, 99654. Parcel size, 17.15 acres. Existing zoning, commercial. Existing use, commercial. Future land use, commercial. Surrounding areas, to the north, we have commercial. To the south is commercial and rural residential. To the east, commercial and rural residential. To the west, commercial. Staff recommendation. Staff recommends approval of the request with conditions based on findings of compliance with applicable criteria established in section 16.16.050 of the Wasilla Municipal Code. And the summary of the request is a conditional use approval for the construction of 128,000 square foot two-story building addition and supporting site improvements for the existing Benteh, Nuutah Valley Native Primary Care Center facility located at 1001 South Knik Goose Bay Road, Wasilla, Alaska, 99654. The project consists of 128,000 square foot building addition and will be located on Chugach North, Track 2, Chugach North Subdivision, 1001 South Goose Bay Road, Wasilla, Alaska, 99654. Because the project exceeds 10,000 square feet of gross floor area, a conditional use permit is required per the district use chart found in Wasilla Municipal Code 16.20.020. And rather than go through all of the listings of all of the staff findings, I'm just going to focus on strictly the conditions that were noted. And I'm pulling these directly from our resolution serial number 25-01. And so we do recommend approval of this. And the conditions being, all development on site must substantially comply with the site plan and plan submittal established as submitted attached as Exhibit B in resolution serial number 2501, except as indicated in these conditions of approval or otherwise noted. Any changes to the plans must be submitted to the city planner for review. Minor revisions may be approved by the city planner, and all other changes must be approved as an amendment to the conditional use permit. Second, the applicant must obtain a letter from the Central Mat-Su Fire Department, CMSFD Fire Marshal, for certificate of approval indicating the development conforms to the current CMSFD adopted building and fire codes. Third, the updated traffic impact analysis, TIA, must be accepted by the Alaska Department of Transportation and Public Facilities. The final TIA is anticipated to be accepted by the end of February 2025 and will include sufficient traffic mitigation features to accommodate the additional development. Fourth, the applicant shall have successful application and approval of the stormwater management system for the new development from the City of Wasilla Department of Public Works. Fifth, the applicant shall have successful application and approval of all required utility permits. And sixth, the applicant must complete a nationwide permit pre-construction notification, PCN ENG Form 6082-2022, in response to the comment received on February 14th, 2025 from the Army Corps of Engineers. And with all that being said, we really feel that this is an asset to the community, and we really would recommend the approval of this. So during the, there's been some action since this was all prepared, and so one of the suggestions that we would like to make would be to have an amendment to one of the conditions, and this is, or two amendments, and the first one would be, one moment. So, Tamas, this, I believe, will cover both of the amendments rather than doing, that was our attorney, Holly Wells, who just came up with this, with this amendment. Staff recommends as a condition of approval that the applicant must comply with all applicable federal and state laws and permit requirements. Okay, and then we can, of course, discuss that more.
And you would, the amendment should just, this is in replace for of, and then identify
Oh, so sorry.
the
So
conditions
this
that will
is-
be removed.
Yes, that would be helpful if I actually told you where we were.
I have a question. It would be on page 13 of 169. I have 7 different recommendations, conditions, and what you listed was not quite in order. There's one for the parking requirements.
Oh, hold on just one moment. And so we had Commissioner DeYoung join the meeting at
627.
6:27 PM. And then, should we wait until he's speaking until? Should we wait until Tamas speaks?
So I think it's, so I think when
Let
you're
me go
giving
back
a
to this.
report, it's appropriate and fair for you to say, upon, you know, at this time, I would amend my report to remove the condition regarding
I'm sorry, I can't
the
hear.
nationwide permit pre-construction notification. Is that the one? That,
Yes.
so,
And this, Commissioner Langell was having just a little difficulty hearing.
oh, I'm sorry. I will speak more directly. So I think there are 2 conditions recommended by the planner. And so I think the only thing, just for purposes of the record, I think you've been clear, but just to be clear for the record, that the planner is stating that she has amended her report to recommended the following conditions be removed, and instead a more general condition as read by the planner be incorporated. So that is her recommendation. So, but I think it's what were the 2, there's one from the Department of Transportation, and then the other one was the nationwide permit pre-construction notification.
That's
Is that correct? Okay. And so to speak to that, just to make sure, the purpose was to make sure that they are meeting all of those permitting requirements without providing, and correct me if I'm wrong, because this is from my conversation with the planner, but to make sure that we're not requiring an itemized list of what we're expecting them to do. Just, you know, but that those things are getting done, and that it casts a broader net, but it also allows the flexibility to meet those permitting requirements.
That's correct and
Is that
very
right?
succinct. So I will yield my time and go back up to here. And we,
Would the applicant like to speak on the conditional use permit 25-01?
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chair, commissioners, representatives of City government. My name is Tamas. I am a licensed architect and a licensed landscape architect working for KPB Architects. And in this project, I deal with the land use issues, and today we have a conditional use permit amendment application in front of you on behalf of South Central Foundation. Currently today, I'm remote. It wasn't planned this way originally, so my apologies about that. I'm happy to be the first one to try this. You probably will see more of this. but I'm really delighted that we could make it happen this way, and I hope that it works and you can hear me and we can coordinate what we need to. I will use my time for focusing on a few issues which have been already discussed to some detail, and I would like to reserve my time for rebuttal if I have any left, and I would encourage you to ask questions as you have them. I also don't want to neglect to introduce Sean Glenn, who is the construction manager from South Central Foundation. I saw him in the room. I coordinated with him to be present. He is in person, and thank him for doing that. And if any questions come up, he may also be a resource for answering them. What I will start with is a big thank you. Thank you for the planning department. Thank you, especially Cindy and Crystal Nygaard. We have started this process about a year ago by coming to coordinate with the city of Wasilla, and then went through an application process at the very end of this process, because we were planning to do an amendment. The amendment is coming through a public hearing. It's in the code. We are actually working according to the codified ways of doing this amendment. And I'm really appreciative of the staff's work on the review, on the coordination, on discussing the various issues, and on their findings, which you heard here at the end. We are in concurrence with the findings, and we are asking for approval of the project. And as you heard, this is a large expansion to the existing facility, and as such, it is not a new project because it's the phase 2 of the larger master plan. The first project was completed in 2012, and this is going to come online in 2026, and we are all looking forward to make this happen. In that, I will focus on the few issues which came up, and again, thank the planning team to do the review and providing feedback and providing the findings. And we are in concurrence, and the reason why the change at one of the conditions is a little bit broader than originally was stated is because we are in coordination with the Corps of Engineers. Their initial review has pointed towards wetlands which we do not believe exist on site. We are still working through that process with them to clear that, but if the conditions state that we have to go for a permit, then we may get in trouble in a sense that we won't be able to get a permit because we don't have a wetland on the site. So what we are doing right now is making sure that the conditions are stated, that we are meeting all federal and state and local regulations. I think they're properly listed with those which you have heard, and we will do our work with the Corps of Engineers to make sure that if in fact an application is necessary, we will submit that prior to the project construction. Other than that, we really don't have any other comments on the conditions, and we request approval, a favorable decision tonight, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have on behalf of South Central, and I'm gonna reserve my time, whatever is left. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Would the owner like to speak, or owner's representative?
I don't need to unless you have certain questions.
Just asking if you wanted to speak. We don't have a dialogue time at this moment, but there would be one coming up here. But thank you. The public comments portion of the public hearing is now open for conditional use 2501. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this item? Please write your name and contact information on the sign-up sheet. When you are finished, please state your name for the record. You will have 5 minutes to speak.
Thank you, Commissioner and staff, and invited guests. My name is Stu Graham. I'm a member of the Wasilla City Council. I'm not here today representing the City Council, representing myself as a citizen of Wasilla and a neighbor of this facility. I just had one question, and perhaps the architect could answer this very easily. When I look at page 108 of the packet, and I don't know if my packet's the same as yours, but it's a fairly small rendition of some elevations here. And when I look at the top elevation and I try and figure out where the top of the building is, I can't read that number, but it looks like it says 54 feet. Is that correct? And if that is correct, isn't that above our code? Doesn't our code say 35 feet is the maximum building? You know, and I'm not recommending we turn it down, but if we need to address it, I think we should. But I just can't read the number on this thing here, and I'm more than happy to shut my mouth this time and let the architect speak.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak at this time? With no other public comments, the public comment portion of the public hearing is closed. Does the applicant have anything else to address?
If I heard correctly, there was an allusion to the building heights, and they are on that page with the elevations. The building itself actually meets the Wasilla code requirements to be within the required height of the zoning district. And we have a mechanical penthouse, and I'm looking at the exact numbers. I think it's 44 feet actually. 44 feet on the top of the mechanical penthouse, which is internal to the roof. It is not part of the building height. That is not calculated for the building height for the building, because that's how the municipal code is written. We have carefully reviewed this issue because we didn't want to make the building extensively tall. It is matching the existing building with a two-story arrangement, and it is comparable to height to the other building, the existing building. What you see on the middle of the page on the top on figure 3 is that mechanical penthouse being in the middle of the roof. So in the staff packet or in the application packet, that's what I have in front of me. It's noted as such, but the building itself is consistent with the regulations of City of Wasilla.
Thank you. Now, may I have a motion to approve conditional use permit 2501, resolution serial number 2501?
Commissioner Stafford, I will recommend, or I move that we approve conditional use permit CU 25 resolution 2501, sorry.
Commissioner Langill, second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Stafford and seconded by Commissioner Langill to approve conditional use 2501, resolution serial number 2501. Is there any discussion by the commission?
Through the chair to the planner, has the applicant met all of the conditions of the 2011 conditional use CLLL01 approved by the City Planning Commission at this point?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Brown, through the planner. Do you off the top of your head know what their city regs say on heights of buildings?
So the height of the building is the 35 feet, but the actual mechanical room does not go into that amount. We can always have a higher amount with the approval. We can get the fire marshal involved and some other individuals, but because this one was not, did not go above that, it didn't calculate into that. and I defer a little bit to Tamas on this part as well. Did you want
Yes.
to address that again, Tamas? If that's okay with
Yes,
you, Commissioner Brown?
thank you,
Okay.
thank you for the question. So, so the mechanical penthouse on the top of the roof is internal. It only contains the mechanical equipment, which is standard practice for large construction like this. We will go through the fire marshal review, and we have to meet all the building codes. This is under IBC, and this is actually being already proposed and have been accepted by the fire marshal conceptually. We are in the process of developing the construction documentation, which will then go forward for final permitting. The building itself is actually meeting the planning or the land use requirements in this district in Wasilla by the rules of the Wasilla Land Use Code. It is below the 35-foot threshold for the actual building. What we have on top of it in a much smaller footprint area is just mechanical equipment.
Thank you.
Commissioner Stafford, not to beat a dead horse, and I'm actually looking at our revised Code 16 because that's what I had in front of me, but I believe this language was unchanged. The city attorney can correct me where it just says building height is limited to 35 feet above the average finished grade. I don't see any exception, and I'm in favor of this, but it's really more of a Title 16 question. I don't see anything that makes an exception for the mechanical penthouse or mechanical space above. Is there a portion somewhere in our massive Title 16 I'm missing?
No, I agree. I think the height language is based on the finished grade, so perhaps there seems to be, that said, I have not delved into this, and I'm not sure if what he's talking about is really maybe borough code provisions and fire code provisions, and the obligations there. Perhaps the best way to address this, since you do have a condition that it meets the fire marshals, I believe there's a condition that requires compliance with the fire code and the non-objection by.
Yeah, so if I keep,
So I would maybe just make sure that you, and I think this would be helpful for the permit applicant too, that to the extent there is a increase in building height, that it complies with all of the requirements and provisions and conditions laid out. So but I think the other thing to do is we could take an at ease while we march through that criteria, and you get staff input on that criteria.
that paragraph that I started to read continues to read, but building height in commercial and industrial zoning districts may be higher if the commission approves a greater height limit as a conditional use, and the Central Mass Fire Department fire marshal finds that the building conforms to the requirement of the International Building Code and International Fire Code. So, I mean, we can make the exceptions. I'm thinking if we're gonna do that, we need to probably make sure it's specific in the resolution we pass, so that all the i's are dotted and all the t's are crossed, and it's clean, and no one can challenge anything on it later that we didn't follow code.
I think that's an excellent idea.
Yeah. So I guess that would require an amendment to the actual resolution to approve specifically that it's more than 35 feet to the final height of the building, including all mechanical penthouses and screening. I think part of that height was screening.
When you get to the resolution, you'll have other amendments because of those changes in the conditions noted by the planner in the planner's report recommendations. When you incorporate it, you can incorporate it into your findings. And that was stated, I think that was precise and an excellent way to state the change you want to see.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, this can be all tied in when we get to the resolution and the other amendments. Commissioner Langell.
I have a question for the applicant. Corps of Engineers is always a real funny group to work with. Have you had problems with them in the past getting approval on your current building, and do you see any problems coming up with them since you do have some lowland on the property?
So thank you for the question. We do not have, no, I don't have any concerns about being able to deliver this project as it is currently presented. Even, we just talked about that building height. I just wanted to ensure that even that issue is actually per code. So there are two code sections are in play here. One is the land use code, which has a height limitation, which we do meet by the letter of the code because the building does not extend beyond that height limitation. The code does have exceptions for mechanical equipment. That's why we put the mechanical equipment on the roof, and that's why it is designed this way. Now, as far as the building codes go, we do have to go through the IBC sections, which is the International Building Code sections, to meet the egress criteria for fire safety. The review happens with the final approval of the Wasilla City, not the Wasilla, but the Matlin-Scarborough Fire Marshal's stamp. They are the ones who give the final approval for the design. They have already seen the conceptual project, and we have a go-ahead in this concept. So I do not have any concerns that the building, as it's designed, will not be able to be approved by the fire department. They will approve it because it's per building codes. It's legal that way, and that's how we plan to go forward. The issue of height is a land use issue, and we also meet that based on the land use code language.
So if I may also interject here through the chair, this is City Planner Wellman. So when we made this determination, under the definitions, under building height, it states in Wasilla Municipal Code, for purposes of determining the maximum height of a building means the vertical distance from the average elevation of the finished grade at the foundation to the highest point of the roof, but not including radio antennas, water towers, church spires, penthouses constructed primarily for mechanical equipment and similar building mechanical features.
Okay, Commissioner Stafford, thank you for that clarification.
I just had to grab it earlier.
Yeah, and yeah, I was trying to flip through my mass. Yeah, so, okay, thank you for that clarification. So then we don't need to do anything there.
I apologize for the delay in that.
Is there any further discussion?
Commissioner Brown, just through the chair to the planner, do the fire department, when they're looking at that extra height, do they coordinate with you, or do they let you know they like or dislike, or approve or disapprove?
Yes, we have, so that's something that we do coordinate. They work directly with the applicant, but if there was any issue, then that's when it comes back to us, to which I believe it would then come back before this becomes, I kind of look to our attorney, Holly Wells, that city attorney, that, what becomes a material versus immaterial change. If the fire marshal was to say, hey, this isn't going to work, but.
Yeah, that's my only concern. If the fire department, who's gonna have to respond if they approve it, then?
I think, given how close the number is, I would, to the extent the commission is considering allowing for, any deviation from the standard height, to approve that up to, and you could say up to a certain amount, or subject to, so long as it complies with the building code requirements and is approved by the fire marshal. That's something you can add, which would prevent the builder from having to come back for a modification or amendment. So that's something maybe worth talking about. But I would make sure it's specific, that you have something so they don't make they are not giving them carte blanche to build a skyscraper, right? So.
What action does the commission need to do to add that?
Well, first I just asked the applicant if, given the numbers, and And the fact that the height is it is relying on that definition difference to add that mechanical penthouse, would the applicant be seeking an amendment? Would they, do they anticipate needing a little bit more on the height? Because this is the time to do it. You're in a conditional use permit application process. So if that is something where would be something that they're looking for, given the questions of the commission, it's appropriate to ask for that here.
Mr. Chair, I think this may be the time to address that, if I heard correctly from the city attorney, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So we have not proposed a request for height variance because the building meets the land use code for height. We have followed the land use code definitions for what may be taller than the building height, which is a mechanical penthouse. That is what we have placed on top of the building. And because of those conditions exist, there is really we don't have no reason to not go by what the current land use code requires, because we will not actually seek any kind of modifications to these buildings. This is a pretty significant undertaking to get this far in the process. And we are proposing a two-story building as described, and there's not going to be any height changes. But if you have, as you have seen the conditions, if any deviation which is considered to be not minor, more like major or medium sized, we are required by the conditions to actually come back to the city planning department and ask for approval. It may be in the form of a public meeting like that. We have to amend the condition use again. That's not to our benefit, because obviously we have a project already described, and that's the intent what the South Central Foundation wants to build. But if any kind of deviation happens, we are required by the conditions to address it with the city of Wasilla Planning Department, and then work on the avenue of making that happen, either by administrative review or by conditional use review like we have today. We do not intend to do either. We don't plan to deviate from these plans because we are far into them. And as far as the plans are today, they meet the land use code regulations for height, and that's why we propose them this way. So we stand by that, and we are hopefully, obviously I'll answer any more questions if there are, but there are really no request on our end to increase the building height. This is what we plan to do, what we showed on the drawings. And thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Brown, so are you assuring us that the penthouse would only be 10 feet above the rest of the building for a total of 45? You don't anticipate needing any more than 10 feet?
So the penthouse will be basically a mechanical, imagine like a large roof area, walk on the middle of that roof area, and there is a box which is going to be the mechanical equipment penthouse, far removed from the edges of the building. So as far as concerns in terms of visibility or viewing, you have to be really far away from the building to actually see it. If you are near the building, you won't have a view of it because it is screened, and it is also out of your view because it's not adjacent to the exterior envelope. It is farther removed from the edge of the building. That's why actually it's a fairly common condition in the planning circles to allow mechanical systems to go up on top of buildings, because then you could not build the boxes which you have to in constrained spaces and then still allowed to operate them as an actual building. We have to put these things somewhere. That's why the code is written the way how it is, and looks like Wasilla chose to adopt that common practice in North America, actually, not just here, but in Canada as well.
I understand that, but the question I'm asking, are you assured that this will not exceed 10 feet above the roof of the two-story building?
I think it is, I'm looking at the numbers.
said 44.
54.
I thought you said 45 total.
It's 54.
It's more than 10 feet, but I'm looking at the numbers, and it's 40, let's see, mechanical level 28, parapets or height restrictions 35. It's about 13 feet above that. It's about 48 feet for the very, very tippy top of that box.
So just to clarify, Mr. Deak, I'm looking on sheet A202. It's on page 25 of our packet. And it looks like, of course, it's a little hard to read being at 8.5 by 11. At the top of the mechanical screen, it looks like it says 54 feet. Does that sound about right?
Here we go.
No, it's 48. I'm looking at my application where I see the numbers. It says 48 for the roof, and then what you have for the screen, we have a screen. That's not the building. What we're trying to do is screen the actual structure. That's the one which goes up in part of the area where it is closer to the edge of the building, so it completely screens it out of sight. But it's not a building necessarily. It's just like imagine a fence surrounding the mechanical penthouse.
Yeah, okay. I think there was just some confusion on how high the mechanical penthouse would go.
So help me out. How tall it, what's gonna be the maximum height when everything is included? That's what I'm looking for.
So currently, the penthouse roof itself is at 48 feet. The building height restrictions are at 35, and the building has this sloping exterior curtain wall, which comes from that height down to 28. So it has a variation of height on the edges of the building, but it doesn't exceed the 35 limitation, and the penthouse is inside with the 48 feet for the roof.
And just to be clear from my point, I'm retracting my intent to do an amendment because I wasn't aware of the definition of how we defined height. So with that clarification, the way I see it, this all fits within the proper definitions.
Yeah.
So.
DeYoung here. Do we need her to read that again so that everybody gets it, the definition?
This is Planner Wellman. So this is the definition under building height, and that can be located in Wasilla Municipal Code 16.04.070 under definitions. Building height, for purposes of determining the maximum height of a building, means the vertical distance from the average elevation of the finished grade at the foundation to the highest point on the roof, but not including radio antennas, water towers, church spires, penthouses constructed primarily for mechanical equipment and similar building mechanical features.
This is Chair Seals. From my understanding of the definition, that this penthouse meets those qualifications and should not affect total height of the building. I've worked on many projects in Alaska, and it's very common that the HVAC systems and mechanical systems go on the roof. And I applaud this architect for putting screening up so that it doesn't look like a giant train air conditioner sitting on top of the building. So in my opinion, this is perfectly good to go.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Brown, not to beat a dead horse, I just want to clarify for future uses. So once you reach the 35, by your definition, city planner, I could have 100 feet above that, long as it's for utilities.
Or a water tower.
Yeah.
Or an
So that's what I
antenna.
want to clarify. So there's no limit that I can go. Okay.
I didn't hear, and I've read that before, and I
just wanna
didn't see a height
I wanna
limitation
clarify for
because you
future
could have
use
you
that-
could have a 50-foot water tower on top of
Yeah.
that building,
Okay, thank you.
according to that definition, and a radio tower on top of it.
That, yeah,
And a church spire.
yeah. So I just want everybody to be aware of the definition. Thank you, Mr.
No,
Chair.
thank you, Commissioner Brown.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Brown, I call for the vote.
Chair Seals here, I'd like to ask the city commissioner how we want to, the city attorney, how we want to construct these motions.
Okay, so I just want to break down that question. So when you say how we're going to construct these motions, and I think this is the first conditional use permit in a while, and unfortunately with Zoe no longer here, I want to make sure that I am being consistent with your past practice. So when you say how we construct these motions, are you talking about a motion? What motion are you making? Like, what motion are you looking to make?
It would be the amendment on the changes of the two items in the conditions and
Okay, so-
recommendation by the staff.
In the findings of fact?
Yeah.
Okay. And so,
So that's on page 100 of the packet is where the conditions start.
all right, so let me get there so we can construct it together. I think so you would move to approve the resolution, right? And then you would put that on the floor and open it up so you can discuss your findings. And again, eventually, I would like to get you all to a place where we are acting less like a legislative body when we're making findings for a specific case and more like a judge, where we're talking about your findings the way you were just talking. This is a much more, that's a much more appropriate way to do this, but this is a lawful way. So you would move for it to approve the resolution, then you will discuss the findings, or you will make an amendment to the findings in Exhibit A. And then one of the things I would like each of you to do is speak to the findings in the resolution when that is on the floor. And so the amendments you're going to make to the findings, I think it was, so we just have to identify, these are so what I'm trying to do is marry the conditions recommended in the staff report with the resolution. And so the resolution, it is 6 on page 101 and 3. And I hope the planner follows me closely and corrects me if I'm wrong on either of these, but I think it's 3 and 6. Okay, so the way that I would craft that is a motion to, once you have your resolution out there, someone will make a motion to amend the conditions by repealing or removing 3 and amending 6 to remove, by amending 3 to remove all of the text currently in the resolution and replace it with the following. Applicant, or let's see, all development, I'm just trying to marry it with words that we've already used. All development on the site must comply with all applicable federal and state laws, regulations, and permit requirements. With all, so it's all development on the site must comply with all federal and state law, regulation, and permit requirements. And you could add the word applicable there. It's implied. They don't have to, it's not a requirement if it's not applicable, but that might give the applicant some comfort that you're asking them to comply with what they are actually subjected to. So you can add that. Okay. Ready? This one's for, the final. Okay, so
Yep.
all development on the site must comply with all applicable federal and state law, regulations, and permit requirements. And then you would remove 6.
Through the chair, so we have the open resolution on, or I'm sorry, the open motion on the floor. So it would, you're just at the point right now that if you did want to make that amendment, you could.
Commissioner Stafford, I'd like to propose an amendment that we change the language on point number 3. I'm looking on page 100 of 169. To remove all the current text and replace it with all development on the site must comply with applicable federal and state laws, regulations, and permit requirements. And then, do we need a separate motion to remove number 6?
I think you can do it in the same.
Okay, and then I also, as part of that motion, then we would remove all language under point number 6, also on page 101.
Commissioner Brown, seconds.
I want to call roll.
Yes, and so Commissioner Brown, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Seals?
Yes.
Commissioner Delane, I can't even talk today, I'm so sorry. Commissioner Langell?
Yes.
Commissioner DeYoung?
Yes.
And Commissioner Stafford?
Yes.
And that passes unanimously for the amendment.
Yeah. Is there any further discussion? With no further discussion, will the city planner please call for a roll call vote to approve conditional use permit 2501, resolution serial 2501?
And Commissioner Brown, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Seals?
Yes.
Commissioner Langell?
Yes.
Commissioner DeYoung?
Yes.
And Commissioner Stafford?
Yes.
And that passes unanimously. Yes, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your time on this and looking forward to see the resolution. And I appreciate that you have made this available online. And again, thank you for the planning department. You have a great team and I appreciate their work on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Langell, I just want to say this is one of the projects this valley and state has needed. I congratulate you and wish you the best as you move forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one more.
We're going to take a short pause.
So I'm going to admit our other applicant here into, and you're more than welcome to
At
stay
7:09
online.
PM.
But if you wanted to mute, or I'm sorry, remove your screen, Tamas.
Yes,
I'm going to
I will leave and then log back into the YouTube. I think that's the way
Yes,
to
you
do
can watch
it.
us live on YouTube.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it. Thank
much.
you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tamas. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hand after you.
Thank you very much.
Hello.
Thank everybody else too.
Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, SOUTHCENTRAL.
Okay, great.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I've been watching on YouTube. So
Thank you.
this is slightly different
Wonderful project.
view.
Designed for population 25 years from now. So we hope
That's good.
absorb whatever growth we get.
Upstairs, and then he asks, you don't go upstairs, you stay here.
I am ready whenever you are.
We're back on the record, 7:10 PM. Next under new business is item 8.2.2. Will the city planner please read the item under new business into the record?
Thank you, Commissioner Seals. So real quick, we'll just read this part first. Item number 2, conditional use permit number 25-02, resolution serial number 25-02. The applicant is Elevate Commercial, Jennifer Willardson, on behalf of S&S Partners LLC. The owner is Mountain Village LLC. The request is a conditional use approval to construct a new plumbing distribution facility, 20,000 square feet. Lot area 4.0 acres, plus or minus. Location 2100 West Parks Highway, Morehouse Lot 3, Morehouse Subdivision, Wasilla, Alaska, 99654. And the zoning we have listed as commercial. So now I'll put on my other hat here.
Yes, while you're up there, will the city planner please provide a report?
Yes, so just real quick, wanted to welcome tonight our applicant. Again, we will have the applicant participating, actually this time the applicant will be participating in person, and we have the potential buyer will be participating remotely, and I'll get a little bit more into that in just a second. So the summary of facts. The applicant is Jennifer Willardson, Elevate Commercial, on behalf of S&S Partners LLC, owner Mountain Village LLC. Proposal, conditional use permit for commercial use. Request, conditional use approval for a new plumbing distribution facility, 20,000 square feet. Location, Lot 3, Morehouse Subdivision, 2100 West Parks Highway, Wasilla, Alaska, 99654. Parcel size, 4 acres. Existing zoning commercial. Existing use, vacant land. Future use, land use, commercial. Surrounding uses. To the north, we have commercial. To the south, rural residential. To the east, commercial. The west, commercial. The staff recommendation. The staff recommends approval at the request with conditions based on findings of compliance with applicable criteria established in section 16.16050 of the Wasilla Municipal Code. And the summary of the request is a conditional use approval for construction of a new 20,000 square foot plumbing distribution facility on Lot 3 of Morehouse Subdivision, 2100 Parks Highway, Wasilla, Alaska, 99654. And because this project does exceed the 10,000 square feet of gross floor area, a conditional use permit is required per district use chart found in Wasilla Municipal Code 16.20.020. And I'll again go ahead and skip all the positive polys, as I call them, the very positive things. And these aren't negatives, these other parts, but these are just some conditions that we've recommended. Based on the findings in the staff report, staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve the conditional use permit with the following conditions. All development on the site must substantially comply with the site plan and plan submittal attached as Exhibit B in Resolution Serial Number 25-02. Except as indicated in these conditions of approval or otherwise noted, any changes to the plans must be submitted to the city planner for review. Minor revisions may be approved by the city planner, and all other changes must be approved as an amendment to the conditional use permit. Second, the applicant must obtain a letter from the Central Mat-Su Fire Department, CMSFD Fire Marshal, for certificate approval indicating the development conforms to the current CMSFD adopted building and fire codes. 3, the applicant must review the minimum parking requirements for the proposed facility after the final design confirms the gross floor area of the facility to ensure compliance with parking requirements. And 4, the applicant shall have a successful application and approval of all required utility permits. So I just want to take a brief second. We have this a little different application that we have here, and it's one of the challenges that I think some of our potential buyers have in this community, in that you want to buy a property, but maybe you want to make sure your local planning commission is going to approve the use. So we have Dan Sherman, who is our potential buyer tonight, who wanted to make that before he purchases. Let's do the due diligence through his realtor here, Jenny Willardson. I am so impressed. They went through the entire process so that they could determine whether this was a good use, and so that you could have this presented to you and help determine that. So with that, I'll go ahead and defer my time now to Jenny Willardson. And welcome tonight, Dan.
and you would be the applicant.
Okay, hi.
Please write your name and contact
Okay.
information on the sign-up sheet. When you're finished, please state your name for the record. You will have 5 minutes to speak.
Hi, my name's Jenny Willardson. I'm a commercial real estate broker at Elevate Commercial. I'm assisting my client S&S Partners LLC with the pending purchase of 2100 West Parks Highway. The buyer plans to construct a new plumbing supply distribution facility for Pacific Plumbing. Pacific Plumbing has supplied contractors in the Mat-Su Valley for many years from their current location on Parks Highway and Lucas. With the significant growth that the Wasilla area has experienced, as well as the growth in their business, they've well outgrown their current location. Pacific Plumbing desires to stay within the city, and they were thrilled to find this parcel for sale that was large enough for what they were wanting to grow into. Because the company focuses on supplying local contractors rather than the general public, their operations will have very minimal traffic impact. Furthermore, the intended use aligns well with the adjacent uses in the area. So it really feels like a natural fit at that location. The buyer has responsibly performed due diligence on the site, including environmental studies, land survey, geotechnical studies, preliminary fire marshal meetings, and utilities infrastructure discovery. In our application, we have presented the material aspects of the project, and the buyer desires the assurance that the project will be permittable upon meeting reasonable conditions after closing on this purchase. The buyer fully understands and expects the Commission's decision to be accompanied by conditions of landscaping plan, stamped site plan, fire safety plan, which expense would have been overly burdensome prior to the purchase of this land. So on behalf of S&S Partners LLC, Dan, I express gratitude to the planning department for their hard work in getting this going for us, as well as the Commission for your time and consideration tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Would the proposed owner like to speak on conditional use permit 2502?
Does that mean?
You're up.
Well, Jenny's covered it really pretty well, and I've been reading over all the documentation, and I'm feeling pretty confident that we've done everything we can to put everything possible in front of you. We've thought about every angle we could to try to make sure that this is something that is not complicated. This is new for us, so I haven't gone through this process before, so this is a bit of a mindful right now. But I would just say that my father started coming up to Anchorage and Juneau and Southeast in about 1966 or 1967, and we've got 3 branches in Alaska. We've got Kenai, we've got our current Wasilla location, and we've got Anchorage. And I love doing business there, and it's been good for us. And we're always trying to grow and add quality employees and be good, neighbors, good part of the community. We're in our 76th year now, so we've been around for a little while, and we're doing things in Washington as well to try to grow and strengthen our business. And I think that's about it. We love the approval. We'd love the opportunity to grow. We've got all of our employees at our current Wasilla location who are so excited for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Yep.
The public comments portion of the public hearing is now open for conditional use permit 2502. Is there anyone wishing to step forward to speak on this item? With no one wishing to speak, the public comment portion of the public hearing is closed. Does the applicant have anything else to address?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, thank you. Now, may I have a motion to approve conditional use permit 2502, resolution serial number 2502?
Commissioner Stafford, I move that we approve conditional use 2502 and its accompaniment resolution serial number 2502.
Do I have a second?
Commissioner Langill, second.
Is there any discussion by the commission?
Commissioner Brown, Chair, to the attorney, what I heard from this is they're not gonna buy the property until after we approve this resolution. We approve this resolution, something goes wrong later on, something we miss, they miss, does that put us in a position that could be questionable about our obligation to him buying property that he can't use now?
No, I mean, I think you're providing him certainty. A conditional use permit runs with the land. It is part of the land, so long as they stay within the parameters of the conditions laid out by the commission and the plans and the application and all of the facts and circumstances that are included in that. Obviously, if there is a change or a material change, that, you know, the conditional use permit is only as good as the application on which that's informing it, right? So, but the intent, I believe, and I believe this is the applicant, but is to get that certainty so they don't make that substantial investment, you know, and have something change. So this is, if council approves this, you are approving the conditional use permit so long as it follows the parameters laid out in this application.
Thank you.
Commissioner Stafford, I just want to say I've driven by that lot for years and wondered why someone didn't buy it, because it seems like the perfect business location. So I'm excited that this is before us tonight.
Any other comments or discussion? With no further discussion, will the city planner please call for a roll call vote to approve conditional use permit 2502, resolution serial number 2502?
Commissioner Brown, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Seals?
Yes.
Commissioner Langell?
Yes.
Commissioner DeYoung?
Yes.
And Commissioner Stafford?
Yes.
And that passes unanimously, Commissioner Seals.
Thank you.
And I just want to add one thing before you leave. Dan, I understand that there may have been a competition in the past with your Anchorage branch, and I think they better get ready, because Wasilla's about to really give them a run. So,
Yep.
congratulations.
Commissioner Seals, I want to commend your business here in the Valley. In my prior occupation with the school district, we've done lots of business with you, and you came through for us every time we asked you for something. So thank you for being a major contributor to this valley. We are now at unfinished business. With no items under unfinished business, we move to communications. We are now at communications. Are there any comments on the communications items as presented? Way back in the back somewhere.
Page 167.
Yeah. Are there any comments and questions on the communication items? No questions? All We now move to audience comments. We are now at audience comment. With nobody wishing to speak, we now move on to comments. Does the city planner have any comments?
I just wanted to thank everybody tonight for the grace given and really appreciated the questions that you asked. Every single one of them provides reflection on things that maybe I could change in the process, and I look forward to the future ones. Thank you to my very important helper, more than a helper, she was just amazing, Elise Blocker. Really invaluable, all of the work and time that you put into this. I appreciate both of them. It started out just one, and then our second one came in literally at the very last second, so I appreciate you expanding to help with that as well. Thank you to our city attorney for participating tonight. We always welcome your presence with open arms. Your knowledge is excellent, and thank you for providing that. And also to Deputy Administrator Nygaard, welcome back from Juneau. We're very happy to have you back. And thank you to the commission. And our next meeting will be, as mentioned, on March 3rd for our special meeting. I did provide your packets this evening. I'd be happy if you brought them back. If you don't, that's okay. We'll have some extras just in case. And hopefully this gives some time for review when we go into our joint session with them. And a really extra special thank you to Julia, who has really just hit the ground running. And with it, I can't even begin to say how busy we have been. I've said this before, but Julia, I kept saying, we're not going to feed you to the wolves, and she just went right to the wolves herself and picked up the phone and started answering questions. And the amount of peace that gave me to know that things were in good hands as we took care of everything. I really appreciate your knowledge and expertise as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Does our planning clerk have any comments?
Oh, we're sharing.
No comment.
Safe.
Does the city deputy administrator have any comments tonight?
Yes, Chair, I always have comments. I think this is two examples of customers and investors that would not even park in City Hall parking lot a year ago. And it speaks volumes to what the planning department is now. I have been going into planning off and on in between where we're going, and the conversations are amazing. The people feel like, hey, you guys are here to help us. You're here to help us work through these situations. And so here's two businesses right here that are expanding. So I was just looking at the square footage. So we're up to 254,000 square foot of new construction, which is going to have an economic impact of about 300 million. And we have about double that coming your way. So it really speaks volumes to how critical their department is. It's usually the first department people stop in when they come into City Hall, and they're very happy. They're problem solvers, and it's just the shining star in City Hall. So thank you.
Thank you. Does the city attorney have any comments tonight?
No comment.
Commissioner Brown, do you have any comments?
Thanks for those who participated in this, and thanks to Mr. Graham for his presence here. But I would, to the public, encourage people. I looked through the packet and I didn't see any public comments on either one of the issues before us. And even if you're in favor, I encourage the public to participate by expressing that. And if you have some concerns, express that. And if you have more concerns, show up here at City Hall when we have these hearings and express it. I was amazed at these two gigantic projects and not having any citizen make any comments one way or another. So I encourage the citizens to get involved and be a voice in where your city is going. Don't leave it to us to think we are speaking for you. Speak for yourself and make sure we are going in the direction you want to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Langill, do you have any comments this evening?
Yes, I just wanted to say I've been very impressed with the upgraded planning department. You guys are doing a great job. It looks very professional now, and it's so much easier when we get a nice clean packet like this. So thank you for that. I did have a question for the attorney. What is the goal of the joint meeting Monday?
I think what the hope is that you will have an opportunity to look. So I've incorporated comments made by the Planning Commission. I've included comments in a separate handout for that joint meeting that are other comments made by the Planning Commission that maybe don't go directly to a specific provision or are more informative for phase 2. So by getting both the commission and the planning commission and the council at the same table talking about the Title 16 rewrite, if we get to a place where the joint body feels good about where the document is, we are really getting ourselves in place to immediately turn around both an ordinance and a resolution. The resolution will be recommending the ordinance that will go to the Planning Commission, and the council will be looking at the ordinance, and you're no longer looking to have the comments sort of going back and forth. We will prepare that final ordinance. If there are amendments to that ordinance, any recommendation by the commission would come up with a recommendation that it be amended in some way. Any change by council will be analyzed on whether it's a substantive amendment that would require another hearing, or it's a non-substantial amendment that will be, incorporated on the floor. So we're just gonna go through that process. So, and you have not gone through one of these joint meetings. They are a little bit of a sausage making experience because everybody is encouraged to actually speak and engage. It's the one chance you really have to do that in real time with the council. This particular project, I found the recommendations that came out of those joint meetings by both council members and commission members was very helpful for me. That was really where Title 16 got the most sort of, change. So I don't know, that's a long answer.
Yeah, no, thank you. The other thing I wanted to bring up is the city council's agenda. And I've noticed that they have lists the planning commission given a report. And it's listed under commission agency reports. And currently the city planner provides that report. And it's a job well done. But being a person picky, I would really like to see a resolution come before the commission that approves the planner speaking on our behalf and providing that report, or change the title in the council's agenda.
You can do that, but you also, the way that the commission provisions are drafted in the code, the planner is your liaison and speaks on behalf of you in many ways and also advises the commission. So you don't need to do that. It's very typical for the planner to be the one to say, hey, this is what happened at the planning commission meeting because of that liaison role. If you would like to have a resolution prepared and have the commission pass that says that, but I would be careful. One of the things you don't want to do is create a rigid requirement regarding who is reporting back on what happened at the planning commission. And the reason why is the planner may not be around. And so the chair would, come, or maybe the chair is out and the planner's out. And so, you have another commissioner who, but so it is a great thing to do to start sort of talking about who's going to report. And so it may be a resolution saying that the planner will report to the council, or unless she otherwise designates a commissioner.
Okay.
And that way she can go on vacation.
Yeah, it might be a good topic for discussion at commission level, so I'm fine with that. And then I just wanted to make a note that I have surgery on Thursday, so I'll be attending Monday's meeting via telephone. And that's it.
Thank you. Commissioner DeYoung, do you have any comments?
I just want to apologize for being late.
Push-ups.
Yeah, push-ups, all right. Up, downs. Ugh.
Thank you. Commissioner Stafford, do you have any comments tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank the planning department for all the work that you guys put into all this. I'm excited about the 2 projects that we approved tonight. They're going to bring well-paying jobs, and yeah, it's going to be awesome. I want to thank private citizen Mr. Graham being here, and I want to thank council member Mr. Graham being here in both capacities. And Madam Attorney, thank you for your guidance through rocky times. So I think that's about it. And of course, thank you, Ms. Nygaard, as well. So that's about it.
And Chair Seals, I have some comments. Thank you, Mr. Graham, in both your capacities for being here tonight. I'm sure the city planner feels the same way. We thank you for your involvement in the public and your help with our strange cameraman today. But I definitely want to get on the record that some of us in the valley probably received this little itsy bitsy tiny postcard about the transportation fair that was in Palmer at the fairgrounds. And it's about the Main Street Rehabilitation Project. And I think that more meeting needs to be done with the stakeholders in this couplet project before it proceeds. So I would recommend that everybody within 1,200 feet or more of the proposed couplet be invited to a meeting by the city so they can get a clearer picture of what this couplet intends to do and what harm it may cause to the city financially, because once this project is completed, it's my knowledge that this will be turned over to the city, and I think the city deserves a minimum of a 10-year maintenance schedule with projected costs, if not a 10-year and a 20-year projected maintenance and estimated cost figure on this before the city takes this on as a burden to the taxpayers and citizens of the city. So now that I got that on the record, thank you, everybody. It was a great meeting. With no further business at hand, I'm adjourning the meeting unless an objection is raised. Okay, what for? Now I object.
I withdraw my objection.
Hearing no objections anymore, the meeting is adjourned at
7:39.
7:30.